You're listening to Real Talk, live streaming from CBRA, and I've got a very special guest in the house. Chief, how you doing? Chief of Staff, should I say? Chief of
Yeah,
Staff.
don't get them confused. Nobody else will. Yeah, I'm doing great.
So you're
It's a pleasure to be
you.
here.
I'm. I know that you've been on before. Kind of give
Yep,
a quick overview of what you do for the police department, and we'll go from there.
sure. So again, Josh Taylor. I'm the Chief of Staff and Public Information Officer for the Northport Police Department. So I get to handle a lot of the external stuff with the PIO role and a lot of the internal stuff with the Chief of Staff role. So kind of the right hand of the chief and an extension of his office to not only the public, but internally here for staff and also externally, politics, those sorts of fun things.
A lot of responsibility comes with that, right?
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of responsibility if you work in any job here with the Northport Police Department. We have a expectation that you're going to be the best of the best and do your job well. And I think we do a great job of doing that for the public who we serve.
So you just got back from a little bit of a reprieve vacation. So kind of highlight some favorite parts of what you did on your vacation.
Gosh, I barely remember where we've been. I haven't quite decompressed getting back about 48 hours ago, but we spent 2 weeks touring Alaska. A bucket list, once in a lifetime opportunity with my wife's family. And I brought my two little kids and in-laws and outlaws, and it was a lot. I don't think we stopped moving. I don't know that I have stopped moving. My sleep's all over the place, and so we were in places like Anchorage and the icy strait and this strait and that strait. Basically, it was a lot colder than it is here. That's for sure. That was my main takeaway.
You had quite the vacation. I told you I was stationed up in Alaska, so had my time in Elmendorf, and yeah, it's a great time of year to go.
It
You
is,
had
and we had yeah, we had good weather. It does rain, and it is considered almost a tropical area there, and so it was beautiful. I am exhausted though, and again, once in a lifetime opportunity. If you haven't done it, you need to do it if you can.
Yeah, it's a good trip. Lots of things to see and do. Lots of wildlife up there. So we have our fair share here, and your position here of communicating with the citizens of Northport, keeping things straight. How do you handle the day-to-day grind at the police department, that and kind of keep everything moving like forward?
Well, it's funny you should say that because as I was thinking about your question of being gone. I mean, I was working. Thankfully, I've got a great backup in our other PIO, Brittany Camerer. But constantly looking at my phone. We had some major arrests. As I left, I knew were coming. We had a major deal of a home invasion, robbery on Hobblebrush a couple months ago, and of course, I wasn't gone 72 hours, and we made three arrests in that case, which people have been waiting for. So dealing with that, people don't, when you do social media, you can do it from anywhere. But she handled the good portion of it, but still, you got to be in the loop and know what's going on. So you really have to have a good commitment, 24/7, 365 days a year, no matter where you're at. And some people are like, "Oh, you gotta disconnect." I just love it. It's just something. I was a news reporter on call 24/7 in my previous life, and it's just ingrained. I carry two phones with me everywhere I go, And I've done some of the stuff that people see that we put out, standing in line at Disney World. So Alaska is no different. And it comes with the territory, and it comes from the top too. It's, I was joking with the chief earlier this morning, because I don't think he's taken a real vacation in the 7 years that he's been here, and he finds it very difficult to be able to do that, because there's always something on the books, always something scheduled, and it's just it has to. I think some people aren't used to that, and it's rare maybe to find people that are willing to do that, but that's what it takes.
It does, and hey, you have no different concerns when you go on vacation than a lot of us who have our own uh, uh, businesses or organizations. The CBRA is all volunteer, and we're rebuilding. We're doing some things, and we're going to get the future, solidified hopefully here real soon. And it matters. All those things matter, and it matters when you're gone because there's a little added pressure because you do get downtime, but it's truly not a complete relaxation where you can just put your phone at home and not think about it. You're 24/7, right?
Yeah, and government's far from a business, but you know what they say: you don't own the
Uh,
business owns you. Uh,
Correct.
but it's the same here. Crime doesn't sleep, and when it calls, it calls, and you don't treat it like a burden. I mean, we get paid, and we're here to do a service, and whenever that happens, it happens. Today I'll probably work about 16 hours. Now some of that's on me. I came in early so I could catch up. But we have pizza with the police tonight. We'll be at Oak and Stone. If you're seeing this before then, it's from 5 to 7. Oak and Stone, come on out. Our community policing team's got that all set up. But we'll be out there meeting people and talking with the community and providing access and transparency and conversation and fellowship. So just comes with the territory.
Well, so let's talk about that for a little bit. Why do you do these meet and greet type things? And because the citizens that moved down here, they may not have had that in their area in the past, or they may not have even known that you guys do this. Can you kind of explain why you do it and what it benefits and how?
Well, it actually goes back quite a ways. There have been certain instances and issues nationwide over the years, but I think it was around 2012, 2013, 2014, the president's 21st century policing model came out. And one of the big focuses of that was more community interaction. And I think our department has taken a hold of that and really taken that seriously as far as uh, people don't want to just see their police department when things go wrong. They want to see it all the time. And I think that's helpful to not only uh, us engaging with the community, but getting their feedback. And you can work that all the way into the amount of tips we receive, to officer safety, which is the ultimate goal, is to work with our community, not above it, but alongside of it. And so I think it's just, these types of engagement things. I mean, our community policing unit does over 100 community events a year, pretty much every weekend. They are dedicated to getting out there and interacting with the community so that it's not a shock when you see the police department. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons behind it, and all of them are good.
They are, and we were talking about briefly when we got on about the retention that we have, the police brotherhood, so to speak, that we have built over time within the organization. Can you talk about that and the importance of where you guys are at and what you're looking for in the future?
the brotherhood and sisterhood.
No, that I
So
didn't mean that the wrong way. I'm glad you corrected me.
yep, yep. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Um, I think to your previous question, they both go together in a sense of when you are out there in the community so much and you do a lot of the positive stuff, not just when people are having their bad day, you get a lot of support from the community. And I think that when you have that, you get a lot of the officers feel better. They feel as if they are um, not the enemy or that might happen in a lot of communities. So I think that
Right.
helps lead to their overall well-being and their feeling. And then uh, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, we have our officer retention and staff retention is unbelievable. We end up getting officers from all over the country, locally. We have very, very few officers leave our agency to go to a nearby agency. I don't know the numbers, but I would be comfortable with saying 90% of our officers who leave here are just based on retirement. So obviously that says a lot to their quality of employment and how they're treated. It's not always easy. It's not always perfect, but certainly I think that we do a very good job at keeping our staff and keeping up with trends and equipment and pay and all that good stuff.
Well, all those things matter too. I mean, you know as well as I do, we're very advanced as far as like drones and different technologies. We really have set ourselves up for the future extremely well too, haven't we?
Yes, but it's a constant. You can't just go, okay, we're here or we're here. I mean, it is there is constantly new technology. The stuff is not cheap, so you're constantly making an argument for why that is necessary to keep you safe. I think people in Northport live in an unbelievably safe community when you look at it statistically, and that's not by chance necessarily. I think that we have great people, but we have to make sure that people who might come here, who might not even come here to live, they just might come here to commit crimes that they uh, don't one, and if they do, they quickly realize that this really isn't the place to do that because of some of the technology that we have.
Well, I in talking with Deputy Chief Morales a lot, it's not that he wants to throw out the challenge, but he's very confident in how we police our communities. Um, he's all in on, if you're going to do crime here, we're going to find you. If you do something wrong here, we're going to find you through investigation. We have all of those things set up for, uh, I think, success for any police department. But he really kind of pounds his chest about that, and that's proven because a lot of these cases that are out there that we're handling, they're getting solved. They're getting results. You guys are kind of result driven, I would think, right?
Oh, certainly. I mean, we're very statistical driven as well, which helps solve some of these crimes too. But it's compounding, right? Like if because we have a safe community, when types of issues that might be piled up in other communities, we have the time, we have some resources to be able to really dig into something that might be not necessarily solved everywhere because of the influx of other crimes that they're working. So keeping it safe is of the forefront so that when we do have things that flare up, that we have the manpower, that we have the resources to dig in and make sure that people know not to do it in the future. Excuse me.
What would you tell people that don't know much about these? Oh, I lost it there. I'll go back. We're in a different location today, so I'm going to apologize. It's not the chief of staff Taylor's fault. It's my fault. I'm at a different location, so the streaming is a little different. But um, keep that in mind as you're playing this back. So you've got a we've got an overview of the police department as a whole, but from I guess a standpoint of giving the residents an overview of the police department 2025. How would you describe what we have in 2025, and where should the citizens carry their pride at?
When you say, I don't fully understand the question, John, and I'm sorry. I'm coughing.
That's okay.
Of course, I'm caught up cold. I apologize. And all that traveling and all that other people's air. So I've been kind of fighting that a little bit. Um, when you say pride about the police department or as a community as a
Yeah,
whole,
I think maybe a combination of the two, because you serve the community, and anytime that you have a strong police department, and I don't want to say an overpowering presence. I just want to say it's a presence that we all know it's there, and our the numbers support safety. So I pound my chest as much as I can about the fire department, public works, and recycling programs. I pound my chest about our police department. If you're not in trouble, you don't know they're there. If you are in trouble, you definitely know they're there. That's kind of my idea of our police department. But from your standpoint, with technology, with what we do, that's the pride that I think a lot of people don't understand what we actually do to make ourselves different in today's world.
I
And I
mean,
think they need.
yeah, the first thing that comes to mind, John, is that we're receptive. Um, I think that's what separates a city maybe from, being unincorporated in Sarasota County or any county is. I knew I should have got some water before I came in here. Is and a lot of places, and this kind of goes back to the question before, is they're so busy or there's so much going on. But here, I mean, I can tell you for a fact, when people reach out to us, they'll send us Facebook messages, or we have a number of ways that people can report issues. Um, they get a response and they get action. And, I can't tell you how many times we get people who say, hey, they're speeding on this particular street. We'll literally take that, give it to our traffic unit, and probably within a day or two, we'll have somebody out there sitting, watching, seeing what the real issues are. Sometimes they're real, sometimes they don't justify the complaint. But I don't know that that happens everywhere where people just reach out and are like, hey, this is a problem area. And we almost drop what we're doing to focus on that area. Uh, because if somebody's taken that step to reach out and to care about their community, we make sure that they're heard. And I mean, that's not smoke. I mean, that is real stuff. I experience it every single day, a handful of times a day. Traffic a lot, speeding a lot. Unfortunately, apparently, people need a lot of lessons on that because it is the number one concern we get with speeding. Um, and I think that helps with everything because a lot of times these are tips for issues that might be more serious. I mean, speeding is serious, but it might be drug related or it might be just something of a concern. Sometimes it ends up being a code issue or something like that. But uh, just complete being receptive to any suggestions that people have from the community. And a lot of those come out of some of these community engagement events we have, whether it be pizza with the police tonight 5 to 7, or Oak and Stone, or coffee with the cop, or any time. I mean, we get uh maybe anywhere between 8 and 10 messages a day on social media with people looking for information or concerns, and please look into this. And those immediately go to the appropriate person in this department. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer, maybe to make a case or something like that. But for the most part, it is on people's radar immediately.
Well, and that all the things that you talk about there's some the pride that goes into what you guys do, that you guys have with internally, because you guys are holding yourself to a standard too, and those are things that we don't see. You guys are constantly upping your game. I don't think there's probably a day that goes by that you're not trying to improve something. Um, can you assess that a little bit?
Well, there is definitely a quality that, again, I for me personally, I hold that in the back of my mind, that that's why you live in a city. That's why uh, you get that immediate attention that you might not get everywhere else. So to me, it's a duty to provide that service, and that's why I'm standing in line. That's why I'm on vacation doing some of these things, um, because it's just what we expect. And I don't know that we sit around and think about that all the time. It's just kind of part of the nature of it. And so I don't know if I answered your question, but I think that through some of the analytics that are constantly being done, whether and again, we have some more long-term things that are there. I mean, we're one of the few agencies in the state of Florida that are quadruple Excelsior um, accredited. We have policy and procedures that are constantly reviewed. I had about 10 of them to return to in 2 weeks that um, are policies that are already in place, but they're constantly looked at and tweaked and reviewed. And how can we improve those? Um, and those are kind of the Bible, if you will, of how we do things. So those are taken very, very seriously. And again, it starts from the top. It starts from, I mean, I can tell you this. Like I said, it starts from the top. It starts with our chief, and nobody is more attuned to what's going on than the chief. I mean, he call him a nerd, if you will, but he sits around and listens to the scanner at night. I don't know. I don't know how many chiefs do that on a consistent basis. And he'll go out and he'll drive around and he'll see the littlest things. And he's not overly critical with it, with those who might be doing what he sees or whatever. But he draws attention to it, and then you know how it is in anybody's business. Once the boss points something out, there's usually a heightened awareness to it, and it's taken very seriously.
Well, and I think there's something else that we can highlight within that, because that kind of self-policing, so to speak. But you guys also do the tours to the citizens. You do not only that, but there's a lot of engagement towards other departments that come in and evaluate some of the things that we do. We've talked about that in the past, but talk about the value of that camaraderie with other police departments, whether we're doing something correctly or somebody coming here and checking it out to improve their stations. But uh, what do we do with them in combination like that to assess and improve?
It's funny how often it happens. We did a social media post, I think, in the last week, and it was about some hurricane supplies that we got and we were using for our ERT, emergency response team. We got some donations from local Lowe's and Home Depot, and we get it. We interact. We put it out on social. Thank you for the help. And just today, we got an email from an agency, and somewhere I don't remember specifically. It was somewhere across the country going, "Hey, we saw your social media post, and we saw you got this trailer you're putting together for your ERT. What can you share with us the schematics and what you're gathering? Because I'm in charge of this in wherever USA, and help uh, us get prepared as well. And most of these things we haven't necessarily created. We see them too. We see them across. We seem to be up there as far as locally with kind of starting a trend with some of these things. But and again, the chief is constantly sending me stuff he sees from other agencies, what they're doing, and before I know it, we're doing it too. So, that's the one thing about government. A lot of times, people, if they're newer to government, they want to like create the wheel, and sometimes there's a lot of uh, somebody's done it somewhere. So let's save time and money and see what other people are doing and see how we can utilize that here and where there are efficiencies, maybe how we can take that idea, maybe make it a little bit better. So you got to kind of see what's going on out there. But, a lot of those problems we talked about it is proactive. The chief will see this stuff, and it's one of those things where you start thinking about worst case scenario. Like, well, what if this? What if that? What is this? And you got to kind of see around corners a little bit. And the good ones, that's what they do. They can see things 5 steps ahead rather than waiting for something to happen and then, oh, well, we learned lessons. How are we going to do it better next time? You're always doing that, but how can we get ahead of a potential problem? And those are the things that nobody ever sees because you don't know. Hopefully you avoided some of these pitfalls from happening. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we're far from perfect and things are going to happen. um, but I think having a little bit of that predictability with the small things will hopefully keep the bigger things from taking place.
Absolutely, and it's really more of a proactive approach to success and minimizing, I think, costs and different things like that, to your advantages, because you're counting on somebody else's history, of different type projects, uh, to implement them here. But they're also looking at us. um, I don't know that they've looked at us as strong as they are today in the past, and I don't want to kick the past. I'm not that guy because past is past. You can't rebuild the past, but we are definitely setting a standard for the future, with everything we're implementing. And you talked about the chief with his light touches around when he sees something. Those things matter, don't they?
I For someone in my position that ultimately has to deal with either the media or the public, it is unbelievably I wouldn't even say refreshing because I'm kind of used to it at this point. But it is just such an asset. And again, most people you're never going to know because hopefully you're avoiding some of these major issues. But for someone like that, and it's not just the chief. I would say it's the
There's
administration
a lot of
here as a
everybody.
whole. I mean, I can go on about Deputy Chief Morales and in his vision when it comes to a lot of these technological advances. The challenge is that we know what can make you better. We know what can keep us safer. Really, at the end of the day, is none of these things are cheap. And um, so, how do you balance, a growing city that doesn't have a lot of commercial uh, influence or financial influence into the tax base, but ensuring that the most important thing here in the city is 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 safety, and that none of the rest of it's going to happen if you don't have a community where people feel safe. Um, so again, that constant balancing act of what can we afford to keep it that way is just something that never goes away. I mean, we're not the only ones fighting that. Northport is growing up, and that is a constant challenge.
I don't want to talk about the building. We've
Good.
got some growing issues. I know. I bring it up though, not to talk about it, but to talk about the growth. A lot of the citizens, one, don't understand the building, don't understand the different sides of it, but they are aware of the growth. And the one thing that I'd like to ask is with the growth and how we are projecting things, and the building is one of them. Okay, but overall, it's just not the building. We're analyzing efficiencies across the board. Isn't that a good overview of where you guys are? You're always looking for better efficiencies. 2025 is kind of like that catapult into drones and AI and different technologies that are out there that are there designed to help with efficiencies. Are we utilizing any of those to make ourselves better?
Of course, I think you're constantly using technology to reduce what you can. I mean, you look at it, just in this budget cycle. We had a number of positions on there that, and this isn't just our opinion. I mean, we've had, two, three, four, who knows how many different outside entities come in, look at our space, look at how much staff we should have, and we're way behind. I mean, and that's not our opinion. That's not where we think we should be. These are based on national numbers, based on how much space we have, based on how many people we have. Uh, so that's all there. I mean, I just happen to have it right here in front of me. It's not a prop. Some of the statistics that, now, granted, technology is changing things, so those numbers will change, but you know, because that building was, expected to hopefully get us through to like 2065. And living today, people, I don't know that they necessarily care about that as much. But we don't want to be in the same situation where we build a headquarters and it basically doesn't have enough room right away, which is exactly what happened in this headquarters that we're currently in. Um, but with those numbers, I was looking, they're saying by 2025 that we would need, or I'm sorry, 2055. And believe it or not, that's just 30 short years away. We'll need 449 uh, officers. 449. I think today we have around 155. So,
Four
these
times.
are experts that do this all over the country. And not only that, but the numbers that they provided show that don't hold me to this. I don't want to sit here and read through these boring numbers for people, but we're behind today when it comes to the amount of people we should have to effectively keep our city safe. So, and we are safe. So I think we are using some of that technology to bridge that gap
Yep.
uh, in the meantime.
Yeah. Well, and that and the technology, the drones, I talk about them a lot because there's so many different tactical uses for a drone, for police safety, gun situations, hostage situations, anything that occurs like that, let alone the normal emergency situations that we may have with a flooding area and analyzing that, make sure people are safe where you can't drive in. At least you're able to fly a drone and capture that. And we do all those things with technology that, quite frankly, we couldn't do before. And yet our numbers, we were safe. We were doing what we could. We talk about the retention. We talk about the shortage. We talk about the technology. There has to be a happy balance. And I'm not saying we have it because we are short staffed, no matter how you put it. And we're also short on space to put staff. And go ahead.
Well, there's no there's no doubting it. I mean, you know, you look around, there's nowhere to put anyone else. I mean, we have portable units on the way. Um, Early 2026, we'll have a number of portables out here lining Sumter Boulevard behind our police department. And that's great for day to day type of use, but certainly we can't put people in there during a hurricane. The impact of whoever we put in there when we do have storms, in so you can't put certain types of aspects from the police department um, in those, because when an emergency is like a hurricane, which is the most prevalent that we face, we couldn't put necessarily our high infrastructure IT in a portable that could be blown into the canal behind the police department in it.
Not even your evidence room. Not even an evidence room.
Oh no, I mean it's I mean something's got to be done, and maybe technology or new laws. There are some archaic laws that make us keep evidence for long periods of time, which impacts how much evidence we are holding at one time. So that could be helpful. Maybe with technology, there's a way to capture that in a way that doesn't take up physical space. So hopefully some of that technology does reduce the need for that many officers years from now. I mean, statistics across the country show that, it's no question, it is harder to commit crimes today than it has ever been. With that technology, people know that, think about it, 10, 15, certainly 20 years ago, uh, people might have a thought, hey, I could go commit that crime. Nobody's going to know. I mean, now there's a camera everywhere. So I
There is.
think people are behaving better because it is much easier to get caught. And maybe that'll reduce the amount of law enforcement needed. Uh, who knows? What we know is what the challenges that we face today, and trying to not only meet that, but invest a little now in order to get things from becoming out of control or having to spend more money in the long run. That defeats the whole purpose. So, I think the community would want you to. It's a balancing act because nobody wants to pay for tomorrow, because the people are already squeezed tight in every aspect of life. But they also expect their local government to kind of foretell what needs to be done in order to save money down the road. So it's a balancing act.
Big time. You brought up earlier the social media side of things. I've got to I got to commend the Jason Bartolones of the world, who are attacking social media with some really cool briefs on different topics around our city. The fire department's doing their thing. You guys are doing your thing. How valuable is that from a position of leadership where you're at now? How valuable is that uh, for you to one see and then also uh, share with the citizens?
Well, that's just another technological advance. When I started here in 2015, the city didn't have any social media. And where we've come is just nothing short of amazing. I mean, we have the largest social media of any agency in our region. And I think Northport has the perfect demographics for it, first of all. Um, a little bit younger population. They're into those types of things, and you talk about the power of social media. I'll promise you that if we have a photo or some basic information about a crime, certainly if we have a photo of the suspect, and they live here in Northport, and we put it out on social media, within an hour, we'll have a name of that person. And that's just the change in the last 10 years. Um, and if we don't have a name, we have a pretty good idea that they're not from Northport, which is also helpful in an investigation. And so, I mean, that's an unbelievable tool. That social media, it has its perils as well. A lot of agencies have gone to not allowing comments on their post. It's basically a one-way street where they put stuff out, and that probably is still effective. We are constantly, fighting against that trend that some agencies have gone to, and I get it. It is a lot. There seems to be a lot of people who like to just say inappropriate things, and if you're going to allow comments, you got to allow comments. People have a First Amendment right. Or a government organization. So we allow that to go on, but it's not easy. It's not easy when people are making, maybe comments about the individual in the videos or whatever. Maybe it's an employee or something like that. So that's a real challenge, um, and it's not a fun one. I'll tell you that. But overall, though, the tool is just it's unbelievably powerful. I mean, less and less people are watching traditional media, TV, that sort of thing, reading newspapers. We're all for those outlets. We try to assist and work with them wherever we can. But being able to give people directly your information unfiltered is something that I'm sure agencies, again, going back to the beginning of time, would have died for.
Well, now, you brought something up there about public comments, and firsthand experience in this, in recent months, is that I know it's there. I know and it's harming. What do you guys do internally? I'm in talking with Chief Titus. They're super excited about the hospital, on the mental aspect of it, because he looks at that as a direct partnership for some healing time. Uh, you know, that's his niche with that. Do you guys have an internal structure where if somebody's getting attacked like that on social media, where you bring them in and have a conversation?
From like, how do we talk to like an employee?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um, I don't think that we've had anything that is egregious to that nature. I mean, you got to remember, I mean, police officers aren't always called the nicest things from time
correct.
to time.
You
Some
couldn't.
of it comes with the territory. I think that, we have a tendency, we can hear 99 positive comments, but it's the one that's critical that you focus on. And
Sure.
I, I I don't know. I mean, I've become a little callous to it. It just kind of comes with the territory. But I also have to keep in mind that, well, a couple things. One is that other people might not be used to that, and how do you work with them on that? And two, you kind of be like, hey, just so you know, we're gonna do this. It might not all be roses, and they kind of get it. But two, you also, we do have a term that are on there. If somebody gets, um, you know, super egregious, which is very, very rare, there are steps to take, but we try not to uh, focus on those things too much and just let people say what they're gonna say. I think more than anything, it's just unfortunate that a lot of people just say some of the things that they say, in the decency aspect of something is just lost, whether it be from behind a keyboard or just these are probably things no one would ever say to somebody in person, but they seem safe, and they are safe saying it, but for whatever reason, it blows my mind that we'll do a post and we'll have an officer on there, and people will just make comments about their look, like they just completely miss the point of the post or whatever. It's all about their look or something, and it's just like, God, you're just kind of gross
Yeah.
saying this stuff, and they're just, I think there are just people that go around saying that stuff wherever, everywhere. It's, I bet if you followed that person through social media, they're saying it on this about that person and that, and it's like, what happened to you that
Social
this is
media.
where you're at,
That's what
that you're at.
so
Yeah.
social media is the root cause of a lot of things. You had mentioned though earlier that social media is also a great tool for you, so you're not overly protective of social media as saying we got to get rid of it. What there is some there are some true guidelines that I think we've lost touch. We've lost touch with our neighbors. We a lot of people don't even know their neighbors until there's a hurricane, and they have to get to know them because they're helping them. We have a great community, though. We have a lot of involvement in our community. We have a lot of people that step up in the time of need, and a lot of citizens that step up, and they don't get the spotlight thrown on them, and they don't want it, and that's okay. But you're right. I think there's some decency that I think was, I mean, back when I was a kid, many, many moons ago at this point. But I remember being in my village where I grew up, and the neighbors, if I did something wrong, they didn't have social media. They just called my mom, and they took care of business. But we don't even have that anymore. People
Yeah,
just
and
they'd rather post. Go, go
and
ahead.
see, we're doing what I was just talking about. We're focusing on the negative aspects of it, right? And
Yeah,
I mean, I can tell you, the positive, for sure, the positives outweigh the negatives. I believe that a
big time,
hundred percent.
big time.
Are there negatives? Absolutely. Are there annoyances? Absolutely. Are there people just being idiots? Absolutely. Uh, but I can tell you that the positives, the solving of crime, the working with our community, the reaction that we get when we put stuff out from the community to help other community members. A lot of times we use our social media, we become a conduit to, I'll give you an example. Just again, these are examples from the last, I don't know, 24 hours. We had a post over the weekend. We had somebody had their mailbox run over. It was a resident, and word I got was that they weren't going to be able to replace their mailbox. Our officers on B Squad this last weekend took it upon themselves to uh, purchase a new mailbox post and mailbox for these people. It was fantastic, positive stuff. And we like to highlight that. We like to highlight that when our officers do that sort of thing, because they're doing it all the time. And you don't want to just show, hey, we made an arrest, or, God forbid we do something wrong. And we highlight that. And I had somebody reach out saying, hey, I saw the post, and I know your officers paid for that for this resident. I want to give back. I want to pay the officers back for what they got. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. But that's just one example over the last 24 hours. I mean, we'll put stuff out and people will donate. Uh, we did one back in 2016. I'll never forget. We had visited a young man who had autism. His mom sent us a card and said, "Hey, nobody's coming to his birthday party. Would you guys mind attending?" And we went, and our officers didn't even take a picture. I didn't even know what had happened. The mom sent me a picture of our officers at this kid's birthday party. I said, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to put this out on social media." And it went crazy. I mean, we had people calling us from around the country. We actually had to put a disclaimer out because they influxed our dispatch center looking for ways to give to this kid and give back and give thanks. So you got to be a little bit careful with those things. Uh, but those are the positives. It is a great way to connect and people to get information, because there's so many ways to get information. I'd rather have them getting it from us than, you know, gossip or something like that. So again, the positives far outweigh the negatives. There's no doubt.
And I'm glad you approach it like that, because there are things that could drag you down every day, and if you jumped into the muck of all the negative, your day's not productive anymore. It's hard when you dive in to get out of that. I'm going to ask you this though: the the detectives within our police department, we rotate through, and people do different jobs throughout their careers, right? We don't have just a detective in there for 35 years unless they choose to do that, right?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, there are some agencies that have a set time that, you know, rotation. You know, you do detective work, maybe let's just say 2 years, then you're out, you're back on the road, you've got that experience. It is good for people to get experience with different aspects of the agency. Here at Northport, currently, you can, and we have a handful, or at least one detective who's done it for about 25 years. We just had one retire last week who had done 20. Um, but they also, like you said, they have different aspects. Maybe they do polygraph. Maybe they are still on some of the specialties or the teams. You know, it's one of the benefits of recruiting people to Northport is that we're growing. So the odds are, if there's some sort of specialty that you're interested in, uh, eventually you're going to be able to get in it and do maybe what you've always wanted to do. Whereas, you know, agencies that are remain small, they know, I mean, it might take me a decade to get to where I want to be. Whereas you might be able to do it here in a year or two.
Right.
So I think that's beneficial to bring in young, fresh talent that knows what they want to do, and if they get to a place that that's where they want to be, that they do a good job and they're good at it, that they can remain there. So that is a benefit here.
That's awesome. Well, we've hit 4 o'clock, so that's our 55 minutes. I want to thank you for being part of the show, the live stream, and it's always nice to have you on. It's always nice to get your interpretation of what's happening, and also it's just nice to have a conversation with our police department once a month. To really get the engagement back to the citizens of Northport and surrounding communities because of the partnerships we have within. So thanks a lot for being part of it.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for having us. And again, feel free, anybody, reach out to us. We'll get you where you need to be.
Fantastic. Though a couple shout outs. Mr. Chuck English, thanks for liking. Daniel Fenton, a local reporter, awesome job. Thank you, Daniel. Diane Carr, she's got a home watch company. Thank you for liking the page. And Mike Keenan, thank you. You were the first one to do it today. So Mike Keenan, thanks so much for participating. You guys have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.